Every one of us desires to own at least one beautiful and comfortable home, but in this economy, it's not that easy. With property prices skyrocketing and the average man unable to make ends meet, owning a mansion seems like a far-fetched dream. But did you know that there's quite a few castles and mansions that lie empty waiting for residents? Surprisingly, not only the wealthy, but even the common person isn't willing to make these mansions their home because of the scary stories associated with them. Whether it's because of supernatural elements, red tape or a criminal past, these buildings we're about to show you have been rejected by everyone. No one wants to buy them even at the lowest rates. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more amazing videos. $0 with a catch. In May 2019, bargain hunters were baffled by a listing for an impressive 4-bedroom house that was found for just $0, but it had a catch. The offer was made by Barb Cushlin, owner of the property located in Jordan, Minnesota. She inherited it from her grandmother, Gail. The house remained vacant even when it was owned by Gail, who had decided to relocate the property from the center of town to the side of the highway. Moving a property has always been a Herculean task, as properties are lifted from under the sills with a jacking system and a network of beams. The house remained deserted on the side of the highway for 15 years till it was transferred to Barb in 2017. From inside, it's empty. Barb planned to renovate 508 Broadway House into a 2-story apartment complex and presented the plan to Jordan City Planning Committee. However, it required sufficient parking, whereas the place where the property stood was zoned for commercial use, and getting permission involves a long process. By April 2019, authorities had given notice to Barb for moving the house away from the highway. Barb wanted to save the property from demolition, but as she did not have sufficient funds, she offered to sell it for $0, but on one condition. Moving a house could cost up to $200,000, whereas about $150,000 would be required for renovations. Things did not move well. Since June 2019, when a property developer approached Barb, nothing has been heard about the property. Till September 2021, it sported a for sale sign. Starrett Mansion. Starrett Mansion is located in the historic town of Port Townsend, Washington. This 1899 beauty has been the love of George Starrett, who had built it for his beloved wife, Anne. It was dubbed the Starrett Mansion. It has a 5,796 square foot area and 11 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms spread over 2 stories. The beautiful 8-sided dove tower at the entrance of the mansion stands out. It has ornate staircases and a solar calendar on the dome ceiling, designed by famous New York artist George Chapman, who used it to depict 4 seasons and 4 virtues: prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. Descendants of the couple continue to live in the mansion till the 1980s. In 1986, it got new caretakers, Bob and Edel Sokol, who bought it and turned it into a boutique hotel. They put the mansion on the market in 2009. Despite 7 listings in 13 years, it remains unused. Locals believe that the Starrett Mansion is haunted by its previous residents. The story narrates that the house nanny keeps a close eye on guests, especially receiving a ghostly smack on the head. Presently, the property is listed for $1.5 million, whereas a 4-bedroom mansion located just 8 minutes distance has a price tag of $1.3 million. This seller is in Clifton, Tennessee, decided to quell superstitions when they listed this property in 2015 with a not haunted for sale sign. Foreclosing fortress. The idea of living in a castle can be quite fascinating, but it can also turn into a nightmare pretty quickly. Karasmark Castle is nestled within 75 acres of sprawling forest, and interior decor takes visitors to medieval times. It's owned by businessman Christopher Mark and is inspired by the fairy castles from his daughter's storybooks. Having a moat and tower rising to 126 feet, this Gothic structure was built in 7 years from 2001 to 2008. It has 9 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, fireplaces, wooden floors and doors, built with over 25 different types of luxury hardwoods. Since 2014, it is waiting for a buyer with a price tag of $60 million. The property is far different from fairy tale stories. In 2008, it was reported that Christopher was using the mansion to conceal a suspicious modeling agency, which listed women for hire at $125 from the castle. It led to his divorce from his wife. Reportedly, Christopher also put his new girlfriend, Marina, and the child they had together out on the street, refusing everything except the minimum amount required for subsistence. The room in the basement is dedicated to dancing and other activities involving binding and cages. $1,000 home. In 2020, this 3-bedroom and 2-bath Victorian-era mansion was listed for just $1,000. It's located in Syracuse, New York, and spread over 2,056 square feet and was built in 1890. Despite its charming exterior, the property is completely deserted and the inside is totally disorganized. The house has rounded rooms with ornate plastered ceilings depicting the 19th century construction features. Due to depleted foundations, it requires a lot of construction work, thereby engaging expensive labor. The listing indicated that the property would require about $200,000 for renovations. An average house in Syracuse is worth about $153,000. The cost of restoration makes it an undesirable property. Peterson's Folly. This mansion is located in Hampshire, England. It was built in the 1880s by a well-off landowner, Andrew Turton Peterson. Andrew developed a keen interest in spiritualism and communicating with people from beyond the grave. One of his spiritual contacts included the famous 17th century English architect Sir Christopher Wren, who asked Peterson to construct a large concrete tower. Peterson constructed the building and called it Folly. Large towers like this one were very popular in the 18th and 19th centuries. The building remained abandoned until 1973 when Paul Atkins bought it for $5,000 and invested about $1 million for renovation of the tall, skinny mansion. Initially, it was turned into a boutique hotel with ensuite bedrooms, each spread over an entire floor. In 2016, the property was listed for sale and described as 4-bedroom detached house, although it is 220 feet high and has 320 steps. The asking price of $2.5 million has made it a scary deal. In addition, Folly has been struck by lightning at least 10 times in the past. Carlton Island Villa. In the late 1880s, businessman William Osman Wyckoff was earning a lot of money by selling a recently invented typewriter. He wanted to construct a dream vacation home for himself, and in 1894 he started building a mansion on Carlton Island in New York, which was ready in 1895. It was a spacious location with a 15,000 square foot area. Its rooms and waterfront added to the attractions. Unfortunately, William died on his very first night on the Carlton Island. His son, who inherited the property, sold it to General Electric due to the constraints faced by the Wyckoff family during the Great Depression in the 1920s. General Electric intended to use it for hosting its employee retreats, which could not materialize due to the unfolding of World War II. The Carlton Villa remained exposed to vagaries of nature and listings for years. Subsequently, the villa was owned by a couple who lived in the cottage on a nearby estate. In 2012, they put the villa on the market for sale with a price tag of just $495,000, whereas in the same surrounding area, a 4-bedroom property would cost $480,000. The Carlton Villa is presently abandoned and is in ruins as all 50 rooms are crumbling to pieces. In addition, Carlton is only accessible by boat and the villa is devoid of electricity and water. The estimated cost for renovations of the villa varies from $10 to $12 million. It is a colossal task as no one has lived in the building for about 90 years. Xiang House. Xiang House is located outside the city of Chiayi in Taiwan and is the most haunted house in the country. It was constructed in 1929 and remained full of life till sometime in the 1950s. It was owned by the Liu family, who mysteriously vanished from their home. Locals believe that the major cause of Liu family abandoning the house was haunting. Almost 87% of Taiwanese believe in ghosts and feel afraid of superstitions attributed to spirits. Their beliefs include that whistling can attract evil spirits and that taking the last bus home could result in abduction by a phantom driver. People believe that Liu family members were haunted by the ghosts of a maid whom they had mistreated, and her spirit came back to torment them every night. Since the departure of its owners, the house has remained abandoned. Presently, its structure is in ruins as its insides have deteriorated, whereas its outside brick structure has been covered by vegetation. It's difficult to persuade any sensible person to buy it for $474,901, whereas an enormous amount would be required for its restoration and to change its reputation of being haunted. Haunted house on the house. In March 2020, residents of Youngsville, Louisiana were stunned by seeing a post uploaded on Facebook by realtor Sylvia McCain, who offered a complete house for free. Sylvia indicated that anyone who wanted to own this structure dating back to 1920 would be expected to restore it, in which it stood on land which had been bought by a neighbourhood development firm. The final bill moving this house was expected to be around $80,000. A lot of people showed interest in buying, but Sylvia had failed to mention one important aspect regarding the invisible residents of the house. Dawn Declos, a former resident, claimed that the mansion has been occupied by a restless spirit. No one agreed to take the house even for free except one brave person who relocated it a few miles away. Let's wait and see whether the invisible residents have also relocated with the structure or not. SKPS Mansion. SKPS Mansion was constructed by 100 people working over 18 months. This Gothic mansion, spread over 7,000 square feet, has 10 bedrooms and was completed in 1875 and owned by Sylvester Pierce, who'd been in the furniture business. It has stupendous woodwork, including a steep grand staircase and abundant furnishings. After Sylvester's death in 1888, the mansion was transferred to his son. Subsequently, the mansion was converted into a boarding house. This decision led to various unpleasant activities, illegal gambling, black market trading, most often visits by women at night, and even some homicides are reported to have occurred at the house. By 1965, ownership of the mansion was transferred outside the Pierce family. Since then, very few residents occupied the mansion. Some of them reported very strange happenings. Edwin Gonzalez, along with his partner Lillian Otero, became residents of the mansion in 2009, but they vacated the house in 2011 due to alleged paranormal experiences. During this period, neighbours reported seeing a small boy in the windows and a dark-haired woman, although the couple were issueless. The couple also shared their experience via a book deal. Their horrifying stories led the locals to dub the mansion the SKPS Mansion, the haunted mansion of the neighbourhood. After failure to sell the house even after being listed for 9 years, they marketed it as a haunted attraction. Sylvester's mansion was sold by Edwin and Lillian in 2015 to Rob and Alison Conti, the owners of haunted attraction company Dark Carnival. The deal was done at just $315,000. Presently, guests can stay here after having signed a detailed undertaking that prohibits them from suing Robert over any paranormal activity they may experience. Granoloma. Some houses have a prohibitive price tag and therefore remain unsold. Granoloma, with its huge log cabin, is located on the shores of Lake Superior in Marquette, Michigan. It has a private marina augmented by 5,000 acres of woodland and 26,000 square foot cabin. In 2015, it was marketed with a price tag of $40 million. The house was constructed at the cost of $5 million, which equals $82 million today, by financier Louis G. Kaufman in 1923. In 2017, its exorbitant price and the luxurious log cabin were lowered down to $20 million. However, the mansion has not succeeded in attracting any buyers yet. Although the estate was designed by architects, it is still quite an outdated decor, and there is some insane taxidermy. Would you be interested in buying any of these mansions? Do tell us in the comments. We'll be back soon with more mind-boggling videos. Until then, have a great time and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. Goodbye.